What if I told you that one of the most hyped vehicles of the 21st century, the Tesla Cybertruck, is banned from British roads? That's not a clickbait headline or a speculative what-if. It's a legal fact, and it has already led to real consequences, including police in the UK seizing one of the first Cybertrucks ever brought into the country. For fans of futuristic automotive design and Tesla enthusiasts, this news hits hard. But for regulators and road safety experts in the UK, it's just common sense. So how did we get here? Why is a vehicle that's legal to drive across the United States considered a public safety threat in Britain? And more importantly, what does this mean for Tesla, the future of electric vehicles in Europe, and the direction of international regulation for high-tech cars? Let's rewind to the moment that thrust this story into the spotlight. It all started when a UK-based Tesla fan managed to import a Cybertruck into the country. The vehicle was not approved for British roads, but the owner took a gamble. It was registered abroad, specifically in the US, or another jurisdiction with laxer laws, and was being driven in Greater Manchester. For a short while, it was the only Cybertruck cruising British streets. That was, until law enforcement caught wind of it. The police stopped the vehicle, found that it wasn't insured and didn't meet UK road regulations, and seized it under Section 165 of the Road Traffic Act. Now, this wasn't just a case of missing paperwork. It was far deeper than that. The root of the problem lies in the fact that the Cybertruck simply doesn't conform to UK safety and vehicle design laws. At the centre of the issue is the vehicle's certificate of conformity, or, more accurately, the lack of one. In the UK and much of Europe, a certificate of conformity is essential. It's a document that confirms a vehicle meets all required environmental and safety standards. Without it, your car might as well be a spaceship, it's not touching public roads. And for the Cybertruck, getting that certificate would require more than just a few tweaks. It would demand a complete overhaul of the vehicle's core design philosophy. Let's break down exactly why the Cybertruck doesn't pass muster in the UK. First, there's the radical exoskeleton design. Unlike conventional vehicles that feature crumple zones and energy-absorbing panels designed to minimize the impact of a crash, the Cybertruck uses ultra-hard cold-rolled stainless steel for its exterior. This design is intentional, it's built to be virtually indestructible. But there's a dark side to that armor. In the event of a collision, especially involving pedestrians or cyclists, the rigid body doesn't absorb energy, it transfers it. That means the very feature that makes the Cybertruck tough also makes it dangerously unforgiving. And under UK law, that's a big problem. British vehicle regulations emphasise pedestrian and cyclist safety just as much as occupant protection. The angular design of the Cybertruck, with its sharp edges and aggressive profile, raises red flags for pedestrian impact tests. Now consider the lighting. The sleek, futuristic LED light bar that stretches across the front and rear of the Cybertruck might look cool in promotional videos, but it doesn't meet British lighting standards. UK law mandates certain beam angles, brightness levels, and the use of independently housed lights. A continuous LED strip, without individual enclosures and specific directional controls, is a no-go. That means Tesla would need to redesign the entire lighting system to comply, and that's not something they are likely to do just for one market. And then we get to the Cybertruck's innovative, but controversial steering system. Tesla has introduced a steer-by-wire system, which essentially removes any physical connection between the steering wheel and the wheels. It's high-tech, sure, and could pave the way for new levels of driving responsiveness. But in the UK, this is illegal. British regulations require a mechanical linkage that can be tested for safety. If there's no physical connection, there's no way to ensure reliability in the event of an electronic failure. That means the entire steering mechanism would need to be redesigned from the ground up before Tesla could even think about applying for legal road use in Britain. The weight of the Cybertruck is another sticking point. In the US, it's no big deal for vehicles to weigh over 3,000 kilograms, especially large trucks and SUVs. But in the UK, there's a strict weight limit tied to driver licensing. If a vehicle weighs more than 3,500 kilograms, the driver needs a commercial license. The Cybertruck skirts dangerously close to that limit, especially in its dual or tri-motor variants with large battery packs. If the final production model tips over that threshold, as many believe it does, it would mean average drivers can't legally operate it without additional training and certification. That's a logistical nightmare, and a regulatory dead end for mass adoption. So, with all these barriers, pedestrian safety, lighting compliance, steering regulations, and licensing weight limits, it becomes clear that the Cybertruck is fundamentally incompatible with British roads. And Tesla knows it. Despite the massive hype surrounding the Cybertruck's US launch, there has been complete radio silence from the company regarding a UK or European version. No right-hand drive model. No EU-specific announcements. Nothing. That's not an oversight, that's a business decision. It's also worth looking at the broader context. The US and UK have fundamentally different philosophies when it comes to vehicle safety. In the US, the focus is primarily on the safety of the people inside the car. Crumple zones, airbags, seatbelts, these are the priorities. External impact on pedestrians is a secondary concern. That's why the US market is flooded with big trucks and SUVs that would never pass muster in Europe. The UK and European Union, on the other hand, take a much more holistic view of road safety. It's not just about drivers and passengers, it's about the people walking, cycling, and sharing the road. Vehicles are assessed not only for how well they protect occupants, but for how dangerous they are to others in an accident. And that's where the Cybertruck fails, dramatically. Tesla fans in the UK aren't taking this news lightly. Online forums and Reddit threads are full of frustration. Many enthusiasts had hoped that Tesla would roll out a right-hand drive version, or that some loophole might allow them to drive Cybertrucks under special conditions. Others hoped that importing and registering the vehicle abroad would be enough to skirt domestic regulations. But the recent seizure in Manchester made it clear, those days are over. The UK is not going to let a vehicle like the Cybertruck on public roads without full compliance. Interestingly, the ban has become a bit of a culture war flashpoint. Supporters of the ban point to Tesla's increasingly bold and sometimes reckless approach to innovation. Critics argue that the company, and Elon Musk himself, are trying to bulldoze over safety regulations in the name of progress. Musk's political comments and confrontations with regulatory bodies haven't helped matters. They've created a perception, fair or not, that Tesla believes it's above the rules, that it moves too fast to be held accountable. For many regulators, the Cybertruck feels like the physical embodiment of that attitude. And for governments trying to balance innovation with public safety, the choice isn't hard. But there's a business angle to this story too. Tesla has a track record of resisting region-specific designs. Most legacy automakers produce slightly different versions of their cars to meet local laws. They tweak bumpers, lights, even crash structures to comply with different markets. But Tesla, it builds for scale. One global platform, fewer variants, easier manufacturing. That's part of what makes Tesla profitable, but it also limits the company's flexibility. The Cybertruck wasn't designed for Europe or the UK. It was built for the American market, where bigger is better and safety means occupant protection first. Retrofitting the Cybertruck to meet UK standards would require a level of localization Tesla has historically avoided. So what does the future look like for electric trucks in the UK? All signs point to a new wave of EV pickups that are built for Europe, not imported from the US. Companies like KGM and Rivian are reportedly working on UK-compliant electric trucks. These may not have the brutalist design or pop culture presence of the Cybertruck, but they'll be legal, safe, and designed with British infrastructure in mind. Meanwhile, the Cybertruck's legal status in the UK may foreshadow what's to come across Europe. The EU has similar regulations regarding pedestrian safety, steering systems, and lighting. If the Cybertruck can't pass in the UK, it almost certainly won't pass in Germany, France, Italy, or the Netherlands. Unless Tesla does a dramatic U-turn and invests in a European-specific redesign, the Cybertruck could remain a North America-only phenomenon. This situation raises larger questions about the future of EV innovation and regulation. Will governments adapt their rules to accommodate radically new vehicles like the Cybertruck? Or will automakers be forced to compromise and tone down their designs in order to comply with legacy standards? It's a philosophical debate, as much as a legal one. Are safety regulations keeping us safe, or holding us back? Are regulators being overly cautious, or are companies like Tesla pushing the limits too far, too fast? For now, the UK's message is crystal clear: innovation is welcome, but not at the expense of safety, legality, or pedestrian lives. If Tesla wants to sell the Cybertruck in Britain, it will need to change more than a few lines of code. It will need to fundamentally rethink the truck's design, purpose, and its role in a world where technology must coexist with everyday human lives. So what do you think? Should the UK and Europe loosen their rules to make way for futuristic designs like the Cybertruck? Or are these safety concerns too real to ignore? Could Tesla adapt to local laws, or will it continue forging its own path, even if that means losing out on entire markets? Drop your thoughts in the comments, we want to hear from you. Don't forget to like this video if you found it insightful, and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the intersection of technology.